Okay, hello everyone, hello, Sets right here with more Drakengard 1. However, here's the problem. No, there's no problem. Here's the thing. I am back from yesterday, I had to go watch my niece. Today we're going to start off with Chapter 2, Verse 5, A Distant Sound. It's an event we didn't watch. So, let's hop in and see what this is like. On the corkscrew battlefield, Leonard hears a sound from the forest of the seal. The voice is that of the hierarch Vertile, the spiritual leader of the Union and guardian of the four seals. The seal of the temple, the seal of the desert, the seal of the forest, and the seal of the goddess herself. After seeing Fiere and Inuar go to join Vertile, Kaim searches the village. There, beside an Imperial soldier's body, is a match that is written in blood. We've done this before, haven't we? I guess it could be slightly different. Give me just a quick sec here. I want to make sure everything is working fine. Chapter. Alright, sorry about that. I gotta bring up my bot here so I can see if anybody's saying anything. Nobody is. Perfect. Okay, here we go. It's a house. Hey, burning house. Joy. So I've learned that we should probably explore these areas. There's burning people there. That's not great. So yesterday I went. I had to help my brother because he wanted to watch me to watch my niece. I assume that's what we're looking for. We don't really need HP here. Oh, hello.
Speak not the watchers, draw not the watchers, write not the watchers, sculpt not the watchers, sing not the watchers, call not the watcher's name. What is this?
I can see it. The forest. A flame.
And where are you looking?
Is this the forest of the seal? The Empire has invaded. What shall we do?
Okay. So, objective. With the weapon, iron scraps. It's just, okay, it looks like a fucking hunk of metal on top of a mace. Let's take a look. Explanation. Attack strength 8. Okay, so it's not even that tough. Though its range is short, one blow knocks foes to the ground. A dagger or rock plummets from the sky and convulses the earth. Okay, cool. So we got a bunch of weapons to actually go through and read. So we got this here, the treasure builder. I actually got this the other day, but look at that. Very interesting looking hammer. It's very slow, I didn't like using it. There was once a man who built beautiful buildings that became treasures of his kingdom. So many treasures did he create. People came to say that his hammer was a tool of the gods. But one day, a war broke out between his country and its neighbor. All the men of his kingdom were called to join the army, and the builder was no exception. The man who hated destruction was no warrior. In the midst of the war, the architect was killed, and the beautiful towns and beautiful buildings he created were reduced to mere broken rock. Until the moment of his death, the builder did not once take another man's life. Will the next owner of the Hammer of the Gods be a lover of creation or destruction? That's a good question. Alright. I like the little stories that come with these, so we're gonna read them. There were once two bandit brothers whose infamy was known both near and far. With 200 men at their command, none dared stand against them. However, once One autumn, they began to terrorize a mountain village. The desperate villagers appealed to a traveling mage for help. The mage then announced that he would help the villagers, but in exchange he would require a village girl as his wife. The mage then gave his mace to the brothers as a gift. No sooner had they accepted it than they began to fight. The whole gang took up arms, and in the end, not one bandit survived. But instead of giving him his reward, the villagers slew the mage. Soon thereafter, an evil plague fell upon them and left not one soul alive. Only the cursed mace remained. What? The fuck? Even that has a not great ending. Holy mace. Okay, surely this one has a happier ending. This flanged ceremonial mace was presented to the hierarch of an ancient kingdom by his 13 pupils. After the hierarch died, the nation broke down into chaos and strife. The young pupils tried to stay true to their master's teachings and avoid bloodshed, but still they fell one by one in the war, calling out helplessly for peace, abhorring violence in the end, and still refusing to wield the mace. The final remaining pupil was killed in battle. As the bloody mace fell, a great god, weeping black tears, descended from the heavens. He gathered the 13 souls of the pupils and in exchange cursed the mace with a frightful power. Why? Anyway, to unlock, hello! We're going through reading the stories behind some of these weapons. Now, I wonder how many of these weapons actually met on the battlefield, considering how many of them found their way through war. I think I reread this one. Yeah, we read that one. We just got that one. Alright, Twin Fangs. A long time ago, there were twin gods who gave them the gift of fire and knowledge and protected him with their wisdom. Mankind fell into corruption and the twin gods became wrathful. They sent storms and floods to destroy the cities and great fires to burn the plains. Acknowledging their sinful ways, the people offered this great axe and penitence. It was a charmed offering, washed in the blood of sacrificed twin children. The gods turned the souls of the young twins into stars. Then they sealed the stars within this axe, a grim reminder to mankind that he must never again fall into sin. Drakengard has been fantastic. Really difficult though. Like, the bosses of this game are fucking hard. Sorrowborn. Once upon a time, in a small village, a young boy and a young girl fell in love. The boy was kind and just, and the girl was cheerful and bright. By flowing the stream over the hills and through the fields they played. With a crown of dayflowers and a ring of lavender, they promised themselves to each other for all eternity. But one day, the girl's family was forced to leave the village for work in the city. Though she cried and begged to stay, the young girl had to leave. The tears of the boy and girl fell to the ground and formed a small pond. This bardiche was crafted by the spirit who came to live in that lake, and was given on a whim to the local woodcutter. Okay. That story. Alright. Okay. This bardiche is imbued with the mighty anger of the storm god. Any victim that has the misfortune to be caught in the tempest will have his very flesh and blood blown clean off his bones. Oh, that's lovely. In a small village, there lived a boy who could control the winds. Hearing of this, the jealous storm god came to the earth and challenged the boy to a duel of magic. They agreed to see who would be first to remove a passing knight's cloak. While the god tried to blow a storm to clear the cloak away, the boy simply summoned a warm breeze that made the knight take off his cloak. Enraged that he lost to a mere mortal, the storm god summoned a wind that blew so hard nothing was left of the boy but his bones. At the same time, the storm of rage entered the knight's bardiche. Okay, that's a common story between the sun and the clouds, I guess, but Crimson Hood. I don't know if we read this one. There's lots of weapons in this long, like a lot of weapons, and they have each have stories behind them, which is kind of nice, which is what I'm reading now. Hundreds of years ago, there lived a noble robber who always wore a scarlet cloak. Unsure what to do with the wealth he pilfered from corrupt merchants, he melted it down to forge this axe. He was pleased with how he had disposed of the merchants' ill-gotten loot. But as he became more obsessed with making the axe even more gorgeous, he started to rob the innocent as well. One day, he raided the mansion of the most powerful sorcerer in the kingdom, and was quickly caught by the wily wizard. The wizard urged the robber to return to his noble ways of old. But the bewitched heart of the robber could not be swayed. The wizard cast a spell that sealed the robber in a brilliant red crystal. And he then set the crystal in the eye of the axe. It's unfortunate for him. Foul blade. An ambitious wizard sealed a salamander within this axe. It became imbued with the power of potent fire magic and an even greater destructive power. The salamander whispered to the magician, "Feed the axe blood and we will become even stronger." Bewitched by the power, the wizard began to seek victims to slay. "Well, shall you give us more blood?" So whispered the axe, its appetite for flesh growing. The wizard, intoxicated by the power, had no means to resist. Not so long ago, the axe was discovered lying next to a withered mummy as dry as a petrified tree. Even now, the axe whispers to those drawn by the dark night. "Kill," it says. Right? That was pretty foul. I already read that one. I think we read this one. Yeah. It's the axe that is looking for something, but nobody knows quite what it's looking for. Far, far to the west was a land of magic, governed in peace by the 500 wise magi of the council. In both night and day, the streets shone, and the people lived free of fear or hard labor. One day, the 501st magi was appointed to the council. He was only a child of 10, and so great were his powers and his intelligence that within 2 years and 15 days he was made leader of the council. A genius of magic, but also a boy of 12, fears assailed him, and bewildered by a life without meaning, he transformed himself into a crystal that would exist for all eternity. Yeah, so I'm actually liking that each weapon has stories too. It makes me happy. In a northern island country, there was a wise man trusted by all the people, known as the man who could see 1,000 leagues. He wandered the countryside with his staff in his hand. The staff could cure disease and injure all those who touched it. When placed on the ground, it could make even the most barren lands fertile. If the staff was touched to a person, it could tell if the person lied or told the truth. If the staff was touched to a wicked man, that man would fall on his knees and repent all his sins. If the staff was touched to monsters, they would flee. If the staff was touched to demons, it would, with words forbidden by the gods, burn them to blackened ash. Now this is quite the descent. No wonder it's so overpowered. Actually, I really like this weapon. It's pretty cool. So this weapon, the Philosopher's Staff. Bit of story here. To get this staff, you have to go to Seer's Prayer, verse 5, and kill all of the goblins in, so that's 264 in 6 minutes. Now I could get to about 240. I ended up using Ariok and just using her magic to get him, but yeah, it took a long time for me to get this. Like hours. There are a number of elements that determine one's own will. Conceptual objects, scientific facts, and imperial realities all play a role when considering any immediate question. Hypothetically, in the regulation of judgment or in the progress towards facts concerning the question, any thinker can acquire a rough estimate or intuition based on personal experience. Alternatively, the process is under the control of reason. What selection to make, on what issues to focus, and so on. In other words, the method of fact consideration, judgment, and reasoning. Only those who understand that the foregoing have the power to understand thought or sense, and recognize its worth in others and in themselves, thus achieving true and justifiable belief. So that's the story of the Philosopher's Staff. Yeah, that wasn't even a story. Stormgiver. There was once a nest of vampire. Okay, we got that one. Okay. Whew. We didn't read this one. I know that because I just leveled this one last night. There was once a great sect that boasted 246 shrines and centuries of devotion to the Holy Way. The continuation of the sect's sacred truth was entrusted to the great hierarch, 57th in the line. The hierarch was a grave and frankly honest leader, upstanding as a child of the gods. He was a good and holy man, but at times his honesty made him weak to the pressures of the secular world. One day, the ruler of the kingdom and protector of the sect asked the holy leader, "Who is the more just, the gods or I?" The hierarch answered that the gods were, and the king became enraged. The king decreed that the sect a heresy, and in one stroke the proud centuries-old religion was snuffed out. The hierarch, seeing his entreaties fall on deaf ears, plunged this trident into his breast. Why trident? I feel like that's a lot of work for not much. Wolf's Plague. There was once a small village that made its livelihood from rearing cattle. but it was terrorized by a pack of wolves that slaughtered the villagers' livestock each and every night. Desperately, the villagers tried to protect their herds, but they were defenseless against the wily white wolf that led the pack. Each night, more livestock was lost. As the situation grew more grave, some began to talk about abandoning their homes. At that, the quietest villager of all took up his spear and stepped out into the night. 2 days later, the white wolf was found dead in the woods, impaled by the spear. The villagers raised the weapon over the village gate, in hope that one day it might greet the Silent One's return. Mermaid's Feast. This one wasn't great, actually. This weapon, it looks like you're fighting with a shovel, and the spike part is actually at the back of the spear, even though they're putting it at the front. And yeah, it wouldn't be great. This monk's spade belonged to an ugly mermaid who lived on a solitary island in the Southern Ocean. With her fearsome song, she would lure the islanders out to sea and feast upon their raw livers. One day, a young man came to the island seeking revenge on the mermaid for the slaying of his family. The man sliced off the mermaid's tail, leaving her on the brink of death. Unable to swim, the mermaid despaired, seeking forgiveness. She gave the youth her beloved weapon and begged for the return of her tail in exchange. But the youth knew that she would return to her wicked ways of terrorizing the islanders for the livers that gave her sustenance. With one thrust of her own spear, the pitiful creature was slain. Okay. Fair enough. I don't think I matched any of these ones. Yeah, no I didn't. Okay. There's none of... maybe Drakengard. An Imperial archaeologist unearthed this weapon's blade from the ruins of an ancient holy place, believed to be the fossilized remains of some beast. The substance was incredibly hard. With great care and reverence, scientists tried to sharpen the rock, but the substance was impervious to fire, to acid, and to all tools of his workshop. Driven mad by the unyielding substance that sat reproachfully before him, the scientist smashed it against his head again and again and again until he fell dead of his wounds. The darkly glimmering substance was the claw of an earth dragon, and only human blood could sharpen its edge. And so, for ignorance, did another scientist die. Lovely. Why would he smash it against his own head? Okay. So that's the weapon. Sorry, I know that took a while, but I love the stories in this. They're pretty good. Go to the Forest of the Seal. Of course. So this is a new area. We haven't been here yet. That's a Black Tripe house. Black Tripe, hello. It's been a few days since we've chatted. How you doing? Perfect timing on that too, by the way. Guided by Leonard, Kine comes to the Forest of the Seal, now under attack by the Imperial Army. Griffins controlled by the Empire fly up to battle Kine and the dragon. How you doing? What's going on? Yep.
They have come this far. The seal, is it safe?
Damn griffins. Anyway, how you doing, Tripe? I'm excellent. You took today off? Just finished a big project at work last night. Oh yeah? What project? Well, I guess I can't ask that, but how long did it take you? Was it just like a one-day thing and you spent all day on it, or? You were like, fuck it, I'm not going in to work. I feel bad because I had to take yesterday's stream off. I don't like not streaming. Deathball, hello!
You suffer guilt over your brother's death. You must forgive yourself.
Shit, Griffin. Tier Griffin. Peter Griffin. Oh crap. Oh crap. So what are your plans for today then, Tripe? Oh shit, dragons. so focused on the dragons, I forgot to pay attention to all these friggin' bats in the air. They surrounded me.
Vultures. You are no match for the mighty dragon.
Those ain't even vultures, those are bats! I mean, do bats find being called vultures insulting? Maybe that's why. Maybe they speak. Maybe she speaks bat and she knows they don't like to be called vultures. Can't stay long because the Kindle's almost dead. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but thank you for the host and welcome. I hope you're having an excellent day, Deathball. You had to update 200 pages on this website to make sure they were all formatted the same way. It was very tedious because the information you had wasn't accurate. Oh, okay. Data entry and data accuracy. Gotta love it. Listen to these sounds. This game fucking hates me.
That is meant to guard the forest seal. But little joy is spoken of.
So the fairies are meant to guard something with their little assholes. Gotcha.
Comes even here. What do they seek?
What do you mean, what do they seek? You know what they seek. They're here to destroy the fairies. To break the seal. What is your problem?
The seal is still safe.
Is it?
Perhaps.
You just finished watching a couple of episodes of My Hero Academia? Yeah, Toon John was asking me to watch that with him a little bit ago. Unfortunately, he was asking me while I was busy, and I couldn't, but I feel bad. Don't try to fucking die above me. Who do you think you are? Oh, there's a lot of griffins here. Holy shit. And bats. You shit, griffin. There's a ton more coming in from the side there, too, if you can see them on the map there. And a bunch of them are dragons. That's great. Alright. Did you seriously just crash into me? You actual fuck. I just barely missed him.
Humans cause trouble wherever they
Ow.
go. Smelly apes.
Just call me a smelly ape. Why did you make a pact with a human if you think they're smelly apes? Sometimes dragons in this can be a real pain in the ass to fight.
The forest! The forest is burning!
I guess he was able to determine that.
Quickly! The
See you,
forest of the
Deathball.
seal is under attack!
You finished season 1 and just started season 2? That's cool. I'm on episode 5, I think, of Durarara Show. X2 show. I like it so far. It's pretty interesting. They're showing a little more of Salty's character in this season, I feel like. Or a little more development for her character. Kaim and his band arrived in the thick forest that is home to the fairies, but the Empire has put the forest to the torch, and fairy delights in the fairy delights in telling Leonard that many of the enemy soldiers are children. What? Okay, give me just a quick sec here, guys. Okay, sorry about that. I just have to reset the recording.